I remember like
Yeah.
before Burning Man, we got on the stage, we opened up for the Alan Parsons Project, if you know
Right.
that,
Awesome.
and Burning Man, and like we knew that was a big gig for us. And as the gig got closer and closer, man, the night comes in. We were just at the break of dawn, and
Yeah.
it was amazing because as soon as night, have you ever been to Burning Man? And I had never been at the time before that, but as soon as the night time comes, the whole thing is lit up, and it just looks like this
Yeah.
incredible festival of lights. And
I saw a
and
video.
the
Yeah.
play to
Yeah.
that is just, it's rewarding. I mean, it looks like there was a million people out there. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. Like you're playing on this stage, but you're seeing the distance from playing on the stage and whatnot. And it looks like a million lights, going off with a lot of different things happening. And
Mhm.
anyway, so we kind of had probably a little ritual before that gig. We were, all kind of like a one for all kind of thing. I kind of remember, but
Yeah.
there's no real like set ritual. We just
I asked because I tried to make like a fun and funny ritual for my bandmate and I. We've done this about twice. Well, this is what someone told me when I had this Japanese dish called tonkatsu. It's like this piece of pork cutlet or pork chop on rice with Japanese, a little bit of sauce and curry
Mhm.
and seasoning on it. And so my Japanese friend told me that that's what sumo wrestlers eat before a match. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like, let's have like my bandmate and I try to do that. So a couple gigs, I try to find a Japanese restaurant, and he's like, oh man, Joanna, where you gotta get me to do all these crazy things? And but you tried it, and we had a roadie like eat the tonkatsu too, so that way we just have the energy to like set up our gear. And we don't like to eat too close to the performance, because it makes
Yeah,
us like bloated, and it's not
agreed,
really good for
agreed.
singers either. So yeah, we did that twice, but hopefully when things open up we can continue that ritual. And I'm so glad that you touched up upon kind of setting up and the live aspect. And because I just remembered this great talk that Radiohead had in on KROQ on the radio. They asked Radiohead like, "Okay, you have created this album, and the sky was the limit. These sounds were just." So many different crazy sounds. How do you guys translate that into your live show? And they were just really frank. They were just like, we put on the record, we listen to it, and we become a Radiohead cover band.
Nice. That's
So
interesting.
I don't. So you have 3 recordings out on Spotify and other streaming services right now.
More in
So
the works.
what is the process from your recording to the stage? How do you guys agree on what's going to be done live?
Oh, that's a tough one. Well, what makes it easier for us, there's a couple differences, but like a lot of what you do here on the recording is kind of what you can hear live, because we are a band that really implements tracks, and we play to a click. We play to a structure, I should say. And that being the case, we definitely will sound, let's say, like our record. But a lot of people, our fans and our manager even, a lot of people will argue, you guys, you guys have a really cool chemistry on stage versus the studio. The studio, sometimes we get into our perfectionist modes. Everything
Mm-hmm.
must be locked in exactly the way it should be. But those mess ups, those like little behind the
Yeah.
beat, the little moments of, Jesse maybe being a little behind, or more likely me, being a little bit behind. You know what I mean? It actually creates this really, really amazing uniqueness, a unique sound that that's what makes you special in a very
Mm-hmm.
much a live setting. And I think a lot of people kind of refer to us as more of a live band than even a studio band. Hope that kind of evolves through time, but we try to capture that live sound on our record, but we do so much other additional production. We're our own producers as well as co-producers, but we do so much additionally that it does have some differences. But by the time we're done with the record, we take the record and we make sure we kind of readapt the live show with it. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes the record helped to kind of evolve or change our live show because we would implement new sounds that we hadn't implemented, you know, when we were playing live on the first time. Maybe some of the fans like this, some may not. I'm not sure, but like, but it's cool because it kind of keeps it evolving. You know, it keeps it moving. But yeah, we've you know, overall we've done a pretty good job of putting things on record. It's just I'd like to embrace that side of the industry a little bit more with this group, and I think we've got some cool things kind of happening right now that may put us in that limelight. So thinking that it could happen that way. So we'll see. We do have more records to be released. We have a master that is arguably our best song that we haven't released yet. And I guess, I mean, not for excuses sake, we were going to release it, but then the coronavirus kind of put a stall on that. And we just want to retrace our grounds and be ready more when I think the live stream comes back more full effect. So yeah, well, you know, we're excited. We're excited for the future, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone because a lot of studios are holding off on releasing certain things because they don't want to release something and it's a bust. You know, I completely understand. Timing is everything. And I think we mentioned off air, I was just talking about like how, for example, on the show The Voice, there was a contestant that walked off crying and Gwen Stefani ran after her and she was like, look, like with my band, No Doubt, we took 12 years to make it. And I had asked, what was one of the hard lessons that you've had to learn regarding the timing of success?
So, I mean, there's definitely a saying in the music world, it takes 10 years or let's say 5 to 10 years to make an overnight success. You know, we've heard that a million times. Like you see it all the time in the music industry. I'll mention like one good example, like Lil Nas. Lil Nas is probably a pretty good example of that because all of a sudden he was a #1 pop star. You know, I mean, Lil Nas X, that is, you know, with Old Town Road and whatnot. And yeah, he built a plan and it all worked, but he had been working for several years before that. I mean, you know, he had been working his craft and he was always, you know, trying to work up to that overnight success. And I think we all are in some, you know, in some respect. Like, and I think, you know, it'll be similar for Roll by Nature. I mean, it really dates back before we even became a band, like I said, you know, with Deepak kind of having a vision too. So it is, you know, it definitely takes a lot of hard work and time to build the overnight success, and the overnight success is possible and almost happens more likely, you know, more often than not, you know, in a way, because all of a sudden you're on every radio station in the nation when you were struggling to get on, you know, a few. so yeah. I mean, it definitely happens in a way.
And you had also mentioned to me, we always have like these off air interesting conversations, but you know, if you don't mind, and you had said like a mentor had let go of someone who helped, and then that person who they let go of said, the same people you see on your way up. Well, I don't want to ruin the quote, but do you?
No, you can say it. I mean, I'm glad it touched you know, like it did for me. It did for you. It sounds like. I mean, yeah. Basically, you know, it's kind of a simple quote. Well, to touch on the story, my manager, mentor, business partner, all the above, you know, I definitely consider him a mentor because he tells me some really great stories from his past. And one of those stories is that he's been in a couple of signed bands. He's signed like 3 record deals himself, major record deals. And the first major record deal he signed, he had a good connection, a good relationship with their booking agent at the time. And he had said to this booking agent after he got the record deal, he said, "Hey, I don't need you anymore. We made it. We're you know, we're going on to bigger and better things, and you're just not big enough for us. You know, you're not doing enough for us." Meanwhile, that booking agent was a big part of the reason why they even got the record deal in a way, because they were able to. You know, the booking agent gave them that fan base platform. You know, the platform to build the fan base in a way. And must have done a couple things right for even to achieve the record deal. And this was back in like the 90s. But anyway, so that guy, the promoter, the booking agent, said to him, he said, "You know, I got to tell you something. I understand your cockiness and I understand, you know, why you're doing this, but you know, the same people you see on your way up are often the same people you see on your way down. That's supposed to be a humbling quote. That says that's supposed to give a person, hey, guess what? It's not just all uphill, from anywhere. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of big groups, a lot of big artists say you make it to the top and you finally, get even a number one hit. Top 10 is I think what we go for, but even you get a number one hit, you made it to the top of the charts, like literally as big as you can get, as high as you can get, the number one on the Billboard Hot 100. I think that's about the highest you can get. But you get it, then the pressure really starts, because it's not about having achieved it and all the things you did to achieve it and get there and get the hit record. Now you got to stay on the top. Now the pressure is really on, because staying on the top is so much harder than being or getting to the top. Yeah. And that expression kind of goes along all with that. So what it really means, though, is that stay humble. And don't forget, keep all your, bridges intact. Don't burn them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. These are important relationships, and everybody you meet on the way up, everybody you meet on the sideways, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Build a strong relationship, embrace it all. And that leads into another really good quote that I don't know if you're going to make me bring up as well.
Yeah, do it.
I mentioned off air, but I heard this quote kind of recently, and it's one I'm going to repeat every time I do anything like this and do future things and, have conversation. But about the music industry, this is so important for artists. Your fans are not following you. You are following your fans. Mm-hmm. And that's been a very important side of things, much before the internet, much before, it just dates way back. You are following your fans. What that means is that you should be engaging with the people that are like us right now. You told me you met me because you really, you fanned the band and you really liked the music. You liked what was going on. And here we are engaging. This is so important. You know what I mean? And the relationships are so important, and I can't argue that enough. And a lot of people forget when you work your way to the top or keep getting bigger and bigger and better opportunities. A lot of people gets to their head. And I can't say from true experience, exactly, but it gets in their head and you think you're too cool for school. You think, you don't need these people anymore. But a lot of people lost careers out of that attitude. And it's certainly the wrong one. There has been quite a few artists, I'm not going to name them, but there have been quite a few artists that have shunned their label in such a way, even though their label probably did help them get to the top in a way. And when you do that, you're really burning a relationship, because even though they might have helped you get to the top, that label, that is, maybe they own too much of your worth, and maybe there's some disagreements there and whatnot. But there's a point where artists get so full of it that they even go far to say, I don't need my label. Man, my label didn't do anything for me. You know what the label does after that? They don't drop you because you're a huge success for them. You're making them money. They don't drop you. They basically start to blacklist you in a way. They basically start to say, well, we won't promote your records. We don't care what you want to do in the future. We have control of your career for the next 5 years. So whatever we can choose to release your album or not. That's not your choice. That's our choice. That happens a lot. And I don't want to get into the control of labels and that whole conversation, to be brutally honest. But I mean, because I love labels. But at the end of the day, I it's interesting. Stay humble, keep the relationships alive. You are following your fans.
That story kind of hit with me on something. I just don't believe in kind of using people in any way, and anyone who's like helped our band along the way, like we want to get them involved. And so even with our professional relationships, the companies that Abe and I endorse, at the heart of it, we have developed relationships with the people behind these products, and we know that they're good people, and we're so proud to help their company grow or endorse their products. And
I like the way you put that, by